4 young amnesiacs hold the fate of humankind in their hands. Their mission is to protect you from the rifters who want to control the human mind. They may appear to be harmless and self-absorbed, but they have astonishing paranormal powers and an invincible motivation: to retrieve the secrets to their past lives, hidden deep in the parallel dimension of the Delta State.
Lately, I've been obsessed with incredible pieces of animation that has either been lost over time or has become popular later down the road. In my last video, I talked about Station X, which was a Canadian show that blended animation and live action together. It was part of like mixed media and has become Canadian lost media because we've only found less than half the episodes and not even in full with their live action music video segments. I did talk to the director and ask him if he could upload the stuff that got blocked by YouTube to a Google Drive. He has not responded, and I'll keep you updated when things change. In that video, I also mentioned Delta State, which is a Canadian animated show that was done entirely through rotoscope. If you don't know what rotoscope is, think like 90s music videos that blend live action and animation together. Whole show was done through that. It looks like either a PlayStation 2 early build, or sometimes just straight up looks like the 90s Batman cartoon. It's a really interesting piece of animation that I wish got used more for cartoons. I know like Smiling Friends had a rotoscope character introduced in season 2, but yeah, outside of that, I really wish we had more cartoons like this. The show came out in 2004, and it's like sci-fi mixed with 90s sitcom humor. The premise of the show is that 4 of the main characters, there's also a 5th character, he's like the mentor, fight these things called the Rifters. Rifters are like Attack of the Body Snatchers. They have to fight them in this thing called the Delta State, and by fighting them, they unlock their backstory, which they don't know about. They don't know anything about their past. The 4 main characters, Martin is like your 90s 2000s punk guy, but he's often the voice of reason. Luna is like a shy introvert that looks straight up like Donna from that 70s show, but she's obviously more extroverted with her friends. Claire is the pretty girl that looks like Billie Eilish, but there's more to her than just that later down the line. And Philip is like early seasons friends, Chandler Bing. He's funny and he makes dumb decisions, but I love him so much. He's such a great character. And then Brody, who's the mentor, is like the above everyone guy. Every character has a power, and Brody, I don't even know if Brody's power was really like explained, but yeah, Martin's power is he can read minds. Luna's power is that she has visions of events before they happen. Claire's power is that she can, as far as I know, transport herself through a photograph. And Philip's power is very similar to Claire's, where if he touches something, he can like recall the events of everything that have happened before he touched, or before that thing, you know, got placed or whatever. It's very, very confusing to explain. The 2 main antagonists are Maria and Sven, who remind me so much of like a goth Team Rocket for some reason. Sven is like a murderous psychopath, and Maria questions a lot of like killing. Anytime he wants to like kill someone, she questions like, what is the point of this? Like, we should do this like more smart and stuff like that. Genuinely speaking, a lot of the first couple episodes are kind of similar in like how they're structured. New character gets introduced, gets taken over by a rifter, and then they fight them in the Delta State. The Delta State is very hard to explain. A lot of people compare it to like lucid dreaming, it's a place where that's controlled by the Rifters, and that they use their powers to like fight the character that gets taken over by the Rifter and free them, or they literally fight the Rifters themselves in there. And the Rifters will make the Delta State look however way they want it to look. But there's more to how the Delta State works later down the line, which I'm not going to spoil because that's a pretty big spoiler for like the ending of the show. Now that being said, the way this show is made is so great because it's like, it starts off with like your typical like, you know, bunch of friends hanging out. They're talking about like whatever they normally talk about, and then like something happens to progress like through the rest of the episode, and then that's when they like go to the Delta State, or they find out maybe more information before they fight the thing. More honestly, it's always like more information about the character that got taken over, and then they fight them in the Delta State. There are episodes that have a part 1, part 2, and honestly might have something that carries out throughout the rest. So more episodes. It's a very well done storytelling that I honestly miss that from cartoons, that I really wish just more cartoons did that. I knew it was like probably a huge thing in the 90s, if not, 2000s. A lot of the chemistry and interaction with these characters, I can't help but think of like Friends, but like whether it be the comedy aspect or just them like coercing to like talk about how they're supposed to like fight this thing, or how they're supposed to get information on whatever. There is an episode that like, for an example, there's one episode that kind of shifts characters' behavior, and then that ties in for the next couple episodes or the rest of the series. They do that with, I think, I don't know if they did it with all the characters, but they definitely did it like with 3 characters, where the characters either start acting weird or acting differently, and then that gets solved in like the next episode. Yeah, the next episode or another episode down, like maybe it lasts for like 3-4 episodes, and they did a very good job at that, breaking up the monotonous from the first couple episodes doing the same thing. But yeah, the one thing that I did mention that I would talk about the music in a community post. I'm going to make a separate video on that just because it will tie in with spoilers. And with everything said, I love the backgrounds in this show. The backgrounds remind me a lot of like video game concept art at times, and it's so captivating to look at, and especially the aesthetics that they include within the Delta State. There is one episode where they go into like a video game that looks so good. And then getting closer to the end, there's like a motel place, or I think, that looks straight up like it was in a apocalyptic video game like concept art. It looks so good. The way they do like this digital blending between like the real world and the Delta State is so well done. And genuinely speaking, the character building in this show is so good. My least favorite character, which is Claire, does have like, they don't really do a lot with her in the first couple episodes, and then when they have that, when the video game episode happens, that affects her personality from that episode, and then they kind of do a couple more episodes that will affect her decision making, and then she learns from her mistakes, and everyone eventually, like everyone just comes back together in the end. There's some episodes where they like talk about like we can't share secrets, and characters are keeping secrets, and then that gets found out in another episode, and then later down the line, and then they all talk together about like how this secret can affect, or that they know about the secret, like the questions about the secret, and how they can, find out more about this thing together. It's done so well. I love the fact that like it's basically a friend group. They're all together as a friend group. There was a weird episode where they introduced a character as like, it was almost like, I thought they were going to be like another kind of like another character to the roster, and I know that they like toyed with it, but then it just never talked about again in like the next episode. It was weird. It was really weird. A lot of the time when whether it be a character's job or a character's like some relationship to another introduced character, kind of ties into what the episode's gonna be, and like how like let's say like Philip doesn't have a job, and when Philip gets a job, that's basically something about that job will affect the rest of the episode. Or how a character that Martin knew, like son, is like the next center of the episode. It's very well done with how they communicate each storyline, and I crave more shows to do that. I do have like the next show that I really want to watch, despite being so short, is Infinity Train, which kind of scratches, or if from what I remember, scratched that itch, where they would have so much cool stuff, but also tell the story so well. The one thing that I feel like cartoons miss nowadays are they could be aesthetically pleasing, but they don't deliver in the writing, or their writing is good, but they're not aesthetically pleasing to look at. And it can't just be both, like Delta State. If that doesn't sell you on what the show is, I don't know how else to say it. You can watch the show on Retro Rerun on YouTube. They have all the episodes uploaded. And if you're interested in the behind the scenes, you can look up the behind the scenes off of a DVD. If you do want to buy the DVD, as far as I know, you can't buy season 2, which is the other half of the season 1. There's 13 episodes on the season 1 disc, and then that has the behind the scenes. And honestly, it's an amazing how cool this show is, from the animation down to the writing, down to how it's the first cartoon entirely rotoscoped, and yet no one outside of Canada really knows about this. The last thing I would actually, I think I'll save the special thing for the next video. But yeah, more people need to know about Delta State. Delta State should be a Canadian cult classic. That's all. Peace.